Welcome to today's webinar. Today we're really going to talk through how to make the most of your year. Now this is really just about making sure that 2016 is not a carbon copy of 2015. Now if 2015 was a great year for you, then you may actually want it to be a carbon copy. That's fine, but most times I find most people are looking to do more in their year, and so what we've got is a great program here that is around just mapping that out. So we're going to step through that tonight. I've allocated about 90 minutes to it. We might go a little bit shorter than that. I don't think we'll go longer, but we'll do it. Now, I'll take you through a few things. Now, we're going to use the question box, so I'll get you to type questions and comments and feedback into that question box, make it a little bit interactive so that we'll use that. So get used to using that. I'm going to ask you to use it a few times tonight. So if we get... that question box has vanished again. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'll have to just go and find it for you later. So before we begin, I guess I just want to take you through, a couple of important concepts that we need to settle on, we need to work out before we get started and move into the detail. And I think the first one that we've got to think about is making sure that we get the destination first. So, at Mindshop we talk about now, where, how. It's really important that we start to map the where. So we have a clear understanding of where we're heading and what we're trying to achieve and why we're trying to do that. I think it's really important that we get that. And my experience is the clearer we can get the destination, then the easier it is to come up with that plan. So destination first is absolutely critical. Because it's about building, three things I find: emotion, conviction, and connection. So you want the emotion, so that ties you into your goals emotionally. You need to get some conviction that these are the right things. So the more clarity you can put in it, the more convicted you be. And then the clearer your goals are, the easier it is to connect and communicate with others around them. So I guess the challenge is to make sure that that we're getting all those things together. And doing all those things. So that's the first step. Become more is, I guess, the second concept I want to think about. And this is, I think, a key focus for most people, and it's about personal growth. And to be honest, I find that the I'm okay, Jack sort of scenario that comes up isn't the best attitude. That most businesses and most people strive to achieve more, and particularly we need to grow as leaders and managers in our business. As we've said in previous webinars, the environment that we're working in is far more complex and ambiguous than it's ever been. And I think that requires us to be better leaders and to grow personally. So what has helped you to grow in the past may not be the skills you need going forward. So I think a commitment to personal growth and development is really, really important if you're going to take your business forward. And the third one is working your plan. And for me, that's more than just developing your plan. That's actually about implementing it and going back to it and changing it and updating it and working on it. So too many plans are set and forget, and I guess I don't think that's right. I actually think a plan is a dynamic document that we should pull out regularly, and therefore I'm all in favour, as my clients will know, of one-page plans and simple plans that we update and work to. So, and I think as a business coach, I always walk into businesses and I find that there are plenty of businesses where we have plans, but we're just not implementing them. Have great plans, some of them don't write them down, some of them don't review them, whatever. Often people don't have a plan, but those that do often fail to implement. So think that through carefully. Now, there are three sort of things. I'm going to run a little poll here. So I want you to just hopefully that's going to work. Yeah, it will. So quickly, you should be able to just click on the screen there and say, of those three areas, which area do you need to work on to have more success in 2016? Okay. So the last few entries, about 85% of you actually voted, and it's pretty even. So it's 34% for destination, 31% for personal growth, and 34% for work to plan. I think it's quite interesting. About partway through there, it was 40% for work to plan, so balanced out quite nicely in the end. So fairly evenly balanced. Probably if we had a option D, all of the above, we probably would have got a fairly high rate there. So I guess it's saying is we need to do work in all these areas and focus on all these things. So all right, so thanks for that. I'll just close the poll. There's the things here. What have we got going on here now? All right, so sorry, Sally, just got your question. What do I mean by destination? So the destination, we're going to go into that in a bit of detail, but it's really about where you're heading and where you want to end up at the end of the year. So if you remember from back to now, where, how, it's really about where we're going. So hopefully I'll cover that for you in a bit of detail in just a minute. That should work pretty nicely for us. It's a great segue to where we're going now. Now, as we work through the book, so if you look through the, I guess some of the things that we're going to talk about, you'll notice in there that we've got a model, and the big word is optimize, and that's really around. I think it's a key word when you're planning. You want the optimum result, not the ultimate result. So we're not looking for excellence. We're looking for, I guess, the biggest bang for your buck. If you're thinking explosives and that sort of stuff and big words, you want to get the best return on investment, if you like. So it's about optimizing your result and your outcome. And that's about things like, what are your top 3 goals for the year? What are the 3 problems that are keeping you awake at night and all that sort of stuff? You don't need to list all the problems, just the top 3 things that we're going to focus on, because they're the important things. And once you've dealt with those 3 issues, or you've achieved those 3 goals, then you can reset your goals and you can reset your issues and stuff and go back to fix them. So optimize is a key word. Now, as I mentioned, you've got a journal, so we've provided you a journal. So Rahan's done a great job pulling that together, it's for download. If you haven't downloaded a copy of it now, there should be a link. But I'm not going to work you through step by step through the journal tonight anyhow. But it's more for you to put your thinking into. Now, the journal's set up as a PDF document, but you can edit it. So you can actually edit it and type in it if you want to, or you can simply print it out and then write on it, whatever you'd like to do. This is about your year, so it's about making the most of your year, and it's, I guess it's planning for your year. It's not so much around the business, although the business is important. It's only part of what most people want to focus on in a year. So if you're going to have a successful year, you may want to cover off some other things just apart from business issues. So it's got a, I guess, wider personal approach. That's the first thing. Now, the methodology, though, I think you can use a very similar methodology for planning your business as you can in planning out, I guess, how your year is going to pan out for yourself. So you can certainly struggle, sort of, I guess, shrink it down or use it into a business concept. All right, so let's talk about the master model. So we've got a model that I want to take you through, and I guess this is a model with in various parts. It's called a harmonious quadrant model because all the quadrants link together and work together. And if we start in the top right hand corner, then we've got what we call our destination, and that's about where we want to go and what we want to do, and it's about defining that. Now, this model is on page 13 of the journal if you've got the journal in front of you, but it's really important that we define the destination, about where we want to go, where we're trying to head. The second thing we need to do then is have responsibility, and I'm going to go back and go through each of these areas in a bit of detail. So we need to have set some responsibility and take some responsibility for things, and there's it's responsibility and accountability. The third area we need to focus on, the third quadrant then, is about collaboration, because in most things in life we need to work with others in order to get what we want. Now, they might be employees, they could be colleagues, they could be suppliers, they could be your business coach, but we've got to collaborate with other people in order to get what we want. And then we need to get movement. All right, so we need to make some movement and get things moving in the direction of our destination. So you think about those sort of 4 quadrants, and what happens is if we combine destination with responsibility, so we set a destination and we make somebody responsible, or we take responsibility for hitting it, then that gives us conviction. All right, so we have a high level of conviction. So we get somebody clarity on where we're going, clarity on who's responsible, we then get conviction. Likewise, once we've got conviction, if we take responsibility and combine it with collaboration with others, we build synergy. Okay, so it's about being in a synergistic relationship. Then not lastly, thirdly, we combine collaboration with movement, we start to build momentum. Okay, and momentum is really important in life and in business because it's momentum that keeps us going. All right, and then lastly, if you combine movement with destination, you start to get progress. So it's a model that keeps going, and then we'll keep refining where we're heading, taking responsibility, collaboration, and getting movement. And that just drives that whole process of conviction, synergy, momentum, and progress. So that's the model we're going to keep talking about tonight. We're going to come back to it. So I guess does the model make sense? So just a quick check there. Type into the question box if the model makes sense. If you've got any questions, please type them in now. So there's a model here. I'll just take you through it again. Basically, we need destination and responsibility will give us conviction. Responsibility and collaboration give us some synergy. Collaboration and movement give us some momentum. And then movement and destination give us progress towards our thing. So it's a synergistic model. So any questions or any comments just on the model? So does it make sense that if you work out where you want to go, start to take responsibility, start to work with others to get it, and start to take action, that you'll start to get some progress, which I think it is. Yep. So optimize, thanks Sam, is about making sure that we, I guess it's about a best effort as opposed to a perfect effort. Too often I find people focus on perfection, and we end up in perfection paralysis, if you like, rather than just trying to optimize and get a result that's good. So I think you're better off to take the next step and move where you want to go, rather than get locked into aiming for perfection and having it all perfect before you move ahead. Now there are times when you do need to focus on perfection, but there's other times when you don't need to do that. John, this model was developed by a guy called Rohan Dredge, who's a colleague from Melbourne. All right, so any other questions? All right, I can see the screen's back, so my apologies for that. Okay, so let's talk about getting started, this whole process, all right? And really building a plan, I think, is about a couple of things. And the first thing is we've got to answer a big question, all right? And the big question for me is a focus question that drives a lot of this activity. So what's the really big question here? For me, it's a stretch question. And Mike Boyle, a colleague of ours, I don't know if Mike's online tonight, but Mike Boyle talks about having killer questions. He's a sales guru. He talks about having killer questions. Well, I think this is a real killer question, and it's one of those sort of stretch questions that gets you to think about the bigger picture. And if you think about it, it's really important. So the question is, who do you need to be and what do you need to have done if you're going to be happy with yourself in 12 months' time? And I want you to think about this. Imagine you're walking along the street in 12 months' time. So here we are in January 2017. You have to say that quickly. Our life's slipping away. But you're wandering along the street, and you bump into yourself. You bump into your future self. What do you need to have done, and what do you need to be doing at that time, or what you need to be absolutely delighted to meet yourself at that point, to be really happy with that future self of yours? And I guess it's an esoteric question, but it's also a powerful question. So I really want you to think about and take the time to do this. Not now, but in the future, you need to take the time to do this and sit back and relax and think through this question. And I want you to write a detailed answer to it. So what do you really need to be, and what do you need to have done to be absolutely delighted with yourself in 12 months' time. And the reason why this is really important for me is because if you take the time to think about it and reflect on it and really tie into the emotions. So if you think about the emotions that meeting your future self and being really happy, you start to generate emotions. And what happens is emotions generate thoughts. Your thoughts become words, and then your words become action. So thinking and visualizing some of this stuff is really, really important. But getting this question asked is really important, because what I want you to do with that question is to dream big. Okay. Now, I forget who told me now, but somebody said to me once, you'll overestimate what you can do in 12 months and severely underestimate what you'll do in 5 to 10 years' time. And that's been true in my life, and maybe it's true in yours as well. And part of it is you've got to dream big, and we want to dream big and imagine big, those sorts of things. And I guess, with this process, take the time to relax. Grab yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine or a beer or whatever it is. Makes you relax and dream. All right, get the pictures really, really clear in your mind, and then write them down. Take the time to write them down. Okay, so you need to dream big. Write it down, and do that. Now, if you're not good at writing, so if you're not good at writing stuff in a journal, and you don't feel comfortable doing that, then draw it. I've done some great workshops with clients where we've actually drawn our vision, particularly with teams of people, and we've drawn our vision. And to be honest, I won't name any names, but the stick figures look like the drawings of my kids when they were in kindergarten, and probably my art skills now. But it wasn't about the quality of the artwork; it was about the ideas and the concepts that we had, and putting them down. It's interesting, if you draw them and instead of writing them even in words, you have a much higher recall of what your vision is. So take the time to draw your vision, write it down if you want to. You can use the journal to do this. So there's part of the journal that's this is what this is all about. So the journal is there for you to start writing down your plans and your aspirations and all those sorts of things. And but if you don't want to use the journal, then just get a standard notebook. So those of my clients will know that I carry a journal with me wherever I go, and I write my ideas and my plans and my aspirations and all that stuff in that journal. And I don't do anything else in it. I don't write client work in it. I write stuff about me and my business and my life in it. And it's really quite a powerful tool. All right, so make sure that you think big, you write it down, answer that question. Who do you need to be, and what do you need to have done to be delighted to meet yourself in 12 months' time? I think it's a really powerful question. All right, so give me a little bit of feedback in the question box. So how are we going so far? Do the concepts we're talking about make sense? If you get any questions on things you'd like me to cover again, just type them into that question box, which is actually on my screen now, so I can see it. Good stuff. Thanks, Carol. All making sense? Thanks, Cam. Bob. Janelle, thank you. Excellent. All right. Any questions? Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Lady. So question from Anne, key areas to focus on. Yeah, I do, Anne. We're just going to talk about that in a minute, so I will get to that. So good question, thank you. But I will address it in just a second. Yeah, so John's saying he's more likely to dream big if he has a dialogue. So maybe to think through, yeah, dream it up. Is that because you like to talk about it, John? Yeah. I find often it's great to brainstorm with somebody else and dream with somebody else, might be a significant other or somebody else important to you, or just to share your dreams and your aspirations with somebody else. It's pretty. I think there's a lot to it. Yeah, whiteboard's a great idea. So if you haven't bought a whiteboard, everybody go and buy one from your local stationery supplier, and hang it on your wall and use it. I've got one in my office. I use it all the time. I just jump up and draw stuff on it all the time. Okay, so that's the concepts on getting started. All right, and let's talk a bit about how we get there and how we do this. All right, so destination. Let's talk about mapping out our destination, and that's really about understanding, about really getting clear on where you want to go and how you want to end up. First thing to do is look forward. Okay, so here you can use the manual in the book of life. Sorry, the manual on page 8 of the manual. There's a wheel of life, which has got sort of 8 key areas for you to focus on in your life. In my shop, we use a similar wheel. We look at health, philosophy, family, all those sorts of things. So map those out for you and start to look forward and be inspirational. Okay, so ask yourself that question. By the end of the year, where would I like to be? What I would like to achieve in these areas? In health and in wealth and in business and in my local community, spiritually, intellectually, whatever it is, in romance, whatever it is. So use some of those areas to give you some guidance and think. Now they're just a prompt, okay? It's just a thinking prompt for you to think through some things, and it doesn't matter what you put in there as long as it's meaningful for you. I actually write a story, so I actually write myself a story. I write a letter to myself every year. I've just written one looking back on the previous year, so it's a letter that I've written myself from the future, and I say, what a great year it's been, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't matter how you do it, but write it down. Look forward. Really important that as well as looking forward, that you take a little bit of time to look back. Where have I come from? What have I learned? So think about I guess I don't dwell too much on looking back, and particularly not flagellating ourselves over things that haven't gone as well as we like and those sorts of things. But make sure you do look back and particularly learn from the lesson. So if things didn't go as well for you last year, what are you going to do to change it? Don't just keep repeating that. So change. What am I going to do to change it and make it different? Okay. So look back. Where have I come from? What have I learned? And then in this case, you can also use the wheel of life. So on page 7 in the journal, there's space there to do a current wheel of life, which is really looking back. You're saying, well, where am I now, and what am I not happy about, and what would I like to change about my life in terms of wealth, finance, romance, all those things, health and fitness, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so use that sort of wheel of life to look forward and look back, and because we're looking sort of for gaps. Now remember that in building plans there are 2 creations, so all things are created twice. That's a quote from Stephen Covey, who passed away the year before last. Amazing man. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is still one of the best books you'll ever buy, and it's still a bestseller. And in that, Covey talked about there's the mental creation. So we always go through a mental creation phase, and then we go through an actualization phase. So if you like, the mental creation phase is the blueprinting phase. It's the planning phase of something, and then we go through the phase of actually building it and creating it. So Jeff, you'd be really familiar with this in the building industry. You've got to have a blueprint to build a great house, to get the foundations right, to do all those things right, and you can't do that without that. So, make sure that you're creating things twice. So take the time to sit down and plan out what it is you'd like to achieve. Write a good blueprint for your year. Now, the journal gives you a great framework to do that in. It allows you to break things down into months and year planners and all that sort of stuff. So it's got a whole heap of things there, and I think that's a great way to do things. In business, my business clients are starting to break things down on 90-day plans. So we have an annual operating plan, 3 to 5 year strategic plan. We break that down to an annual operating plan. We start breaking that down into 90-day plans now and be really clear on what we want to achieve in the next 90 days. So we start to achieve more. And then I think there's a really big question to ask yourself, particularly in business, around the destination. Does everyone in your organisation know the top 3 priorities for next year? I think it's a really powerful question. So if I stopped every one of your employees in their lunch break and asked them this question, how many of them would get it right? I think that's an important question. So tell me, why do you think it's important that everybody in your organisation, or a large proportion of your organisation, understands what the focus is for the coming year? Just type your answer to the question area for me. Yep, synergy. Thanks, Sam. On the same page, yeah. Common purpose, focused on results. Yep, everyone's heading in the same direction. Thanks, Annette. Without it, you miss out on the collaboration. Yeah, all working towards a shared outcome. Yeah, all good answers. So thank you for that. So, I think about it as all those things. I think about it as focus. That gets everybody focused on the same page, and everybody focused on a common outcome. It's really important. It's about communication. I find it really hard if you don't communicate work. If you don't communicate your goals well, then communication sort of tells me that's probably lacking in your business. Hard to collaborate if you all don't know what we're aiming for and what we're working towards, and that's about teamwork. And so I think that's a really important question around the destination. So once you're clear on where it is for your life, then how do we make sure it works for your business? All right, now that's it. Yeah, Trevor, it does work for a one-person business, because I find I'm essentially a one-man band. Although I do have Ray and Chris working with me, and so it's important that everybody knows where we want to go. But even in a one-man band, you'll still need to collaborate with other people. And it says me, myself, and I, exactly. But there's three of you. That's a whole Sybil personality thing you've got going on there. But you work with other people, and some of those people need to know what's going on. They might be your accountant, or other people you work with, or colleagues that you collaborate with, or organisations that you're a part of, or your coach or your mentor. So everybody needs to understand where your priorities are. Okay. Just the audio. Have you still got the audio, everybody? So Ladies just said he's lost the audio. Back again? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, good. Challenge with steam-powered internet here out of Innes Park. But anyway. All right, so if we go back to our model, we talked about destination. It's really important that we have some clarity around that. Now, in the planning phase, I spend more time with my clients talking about where we want to go than anything else. And when I say more time, I don't spend a lot of time focusing back on where we've been necessarily. For me, it's more important to define where you want to go. Now, you need to learn some of the lessons from where you've been, but once you've worked out where you want to head to, set the destination, and then spend your time talking about how you're going to get there. But be clear about your destination. All right, so the second quadrant I want to talk about is responsibility. Absolutely critical next step here, because it's about two things. For me, it's about responsibility and accountability. So how do we be responsible, but also accountable? So responsibility means that that's your job and you need to do it. Accountability is you need to do it to a certain standard or a certain level. And often we give people responsibility, but we don't make them accountable, or we make them accountable and not responsible. So it's a big area. One of the things we need to do in this space, particularly as business leaders, is to self-lead. I think that makes sense, that you need to be ready to lead your business and move forward. And really, that's that question of how well am I preparing myself to lead my team? Okay, and it's more important than you think. I guess it's that question of what are you doing to grow and develop as a leader? And even if you're a one-man band, what are you doing to grow and develop and take your business to that next level? So what are you doing as a leader to improve your skills and your ability to lead your business? I've been consulting for 30 years, and pretty frightening, really, if you think about it. It'll be 31 in April. And what I've found is that most businesses tend to either plateau or stagnate at a level that's defined by the capability of their leader, of their leadership, if you like. So I find that Small business and family businesses tend to stagnate or plateau at a level that's defined by the capability of their leadership to lead and manage that business. So we need to grow and develop. If we have aspirations far beyond where we are at the moment, then we need to lead and need to be ready to lead, and we need to build our skills as a leader. And there might be business skills, there might be leadership skills, there might be interpersonal skills, but we need to grow. Okay, that's really important. Second thing we need to do with responsibility is go public. And Marshall Goldsmith said, when you go public, everyone knows, and there's nowhere to hide. I think that's really important, and that's about accountability. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to put all your goals up on the internet or take out an ad in the local paper. What I'm talking about is make yourself accountable to someone else. Okay, so think about it and say, right, what have I got to do to make myself accountable to somebody else? So that might be your business partner, it might be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be a coach, it could be your accountant, it could be anybody. But let somebody else know those goals and give them permission to follow you up and chase you on those goals and to harass you slightly if you're sliding behind things. So go public on the goals, share them with somebody else, get them to hold you accountable. And the last thing is words create words, and don't forget about the creative power of words. I talked before about emotions leading to thoughts, leading to words, leading to action. My experience is that you do need to put stuff down. You need to write stuff down and make notes to yourself. Really important, because what you say is what you focus on. Okay, so it's written words, but it's also what you say and the language that you use. So be really careful when you're being responsible and accountable that you pick words that support your goals and where you want to go. So select your words well, set your goals, articulate them well, and start to build them. Now, other webinars and videos we've done, we've covered off how to set KPIs and key performance indicators or key performance measures for your business. So I'm not going to go into those now, but you need to set some measures and stuff for your business. So in terms of a question I want to ask you is, in terms of responsibility, where's the lack of personal responsibility cost your business this year? I think we have to take responsibility for our actions. It's easy to pass the blame onto other people. But if you think about your business, where's the lack of personal responsibility cost you and your business this year? And I don't mean just in monetary terms. Sometimes it can be in market share or credibility or just in energy, or you burnt some relationships or you've done something. So just think about that. And then I'll keep it anonymous, but if you want to type in some areas here of responsibility. So where's the lack of personal responsibility cost your business this year? Type it into the question box when you're ready. Be hard on yourself. Yeah, timing has slipped because you just didn't hit key dates. Yeah, good one. Miss some marketing opportunities. Yeah, that's a great one. Just too busy doing other things and just not taking responsibility. Yeah, training for new ways of coaching. Yeah, yeah, lack of time. Yeah, so you just got to make that time, don't you? And sometimes that's really important. Yeah, not focusing on finishing enough. Yeah, really important that we finish and take the time, I guess, to make sure we get things done. And if you're not a finisher, you probably need to associate yourself with people who are finishers. That's why I've got my wonderful Ray and Chris in the Philippines helping me out. Yeah, having better impact. Yeah, focusing on pipeline of sales, that sort of stuff. Being away for too long. Yeah, that's right. So you can spend too much time out of the business. Okay. So responsibility is really important, and often we just sort of gloss over it. And I see it in plans where we don't make people responsible, or we make a team of people responsible for actions. Really important that you have one person or you take responsibility. I think part of the problem is we often try and bite off more than we can chew, and it's just too hard. So I would encourage you to focus on less things and do more of them. I guess is what I'm thinking of. All right, so next part of our model here is about collaboration. All right, so we've talked about destination, we've talked about responsibility, we're now talking about collaboration. Really important that we think about collaboration. So for me, collaboration is about working with others, it's about teamwork, it's about getting the most out of our staff and our employees, it's about doing things with our families, it's all that sort of stuff. So collaboration is really important. And then, there's a great quote I like by Woodrow Wilson. It's about, it's about using all the brains you've got and all the brains you can borrow to get what you want to do. I think it's really important. So think about these questions. So what's the team that you require to help you get to where you're going to go? So some of them will be work team, but there'll be other people you need to engage or work with. They'll be partners or joint venture partners or collaborators or consultants or, contractors, professional services people, whatever you might need to get the job done. Who are you going to collaborate with? I remember going to a Tony Robbins thing many years ago about wealth mastery, and one of the things that they taught in that was to be successful at this, you need to build yourself a team of people around you that can help you do what you need to do. So picking your team was one of the most important things that we needed to do. So how do we go and sort of collaborate with others and build more? There's a couple of things I think you can focus on. First one is you can expand your networks. And when you do this, your world gets bigger. All right. So that can be going to conferences, just participating in local networking events. It might be joining a service club. It could be doing something else. It could be going to women in business, join the Chamber of Commerce, all sorts of things. But expand your networks, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I was listening to a podcast the other day from one of these internet guru guys, an Australian guy actually, and he every year picks a conference that he knows nothing about to go along to just to challenge himself to think outside the square. And he said it's just amazing to see what other people are doing, and he always gets value out of it. So expand your networks. Give and receive. Really important that we sort of think about the two-way street of givers gain. Business networking program BNI talks about givers gain. So it's all about giving and receiving referrals. Mindshop, we talk about value to others. So that's where you give without the prospect of a direct return to you. But we all know that the system will pay us back in some way. So, be willing to help, be willing to collaborate with others, and give freely. I find that that's a great way. The more you give, the more you'll receive. And if you participate in collaboration, participate in things and collaborate with others, then they'll collaborate with you and help you as well. Third thing to think of in this space is about who and why. And listen a little bit about destination for me. So it's a couple of things. I guess it's a double-ended thing. It's about who are you going to collaborate with and why you're going to collaborate with them. What's in it for you, but also what's in it for them. I think this is really important. And, part of it is you need to understand why you're doing it. It can't just be for material gain. People see through that pretty quickly. So why are you collaborating with people, and why are you working with others, and why you're giving freely of yourself? So think about that, some stuff. So the why is really important. We've talked about that in Simon Sinek's program. The golden circles. If you haven't looked that up, just type Simon Sinek and why into YouTube. It's about a 20-minute video. It's quite inspiring. So he talks a lot about having to understand your why and why you're doing things. Well, I think that's important when you have to collaborate with others and work with others. Who do you need to collaborate with, and why? Why should you, and why should they? Why are you doing it? So think about those sorts of things in terms of collaboration. It's really important. All right, so that's collaboration. I guess there's a really important question with collaboration. That's who does your job when you're not present? And it's something that we often don't think about in business. And I often think about it. We do a workforce plan for somebody, and we sit down and help them map out their workforce and where they want to go. One of the most important columns there to think about is the column that is the emergency column. So, basically that says if somebody gets run over by a bus or, can't come to work for some other reason for a longer period of time, who's going to step up and do that job? Who are we training and developing in our collaboration programs and our teamwork programs to cover off on that eventuality? Now, I'm not wishing that anybody gets run over by a bus, don't get me wrong, but it does. Things happen. People get injured. People, can't come to work for long periods of time. Who does your job? So the question is, who does your job when you're not present? Type the answer in the question area in the question box for me, please. Yep, we've got family, nobody, no one, all the one-man bands, yeah. Some managers, yeah. Other colleagues, yeah. Yeah. So it's worth thinking about, isn't it? So who can we get to step up into our position? We've got partners sometimes can do it. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes we've got family members and stuff to drop in there. Delegate to other employees bits and pieces of the role, so we can do that sort of stuff. I think it's worth talking about. Now, it is very difficult as a in a one-person business when you get ill and you can't do your job. That's always a challenge. But as your business gets bigger and bigger, how can you do that? Now, you might think about that as a one-man band. Are there colleagues that you could get to come and cover for you? I'm not talking about if you've got a cold or something, but if something serious happened and you broke a leg, what's your contingency plan? All right, so what's worth thinking about? But the bigger you get, the more you need to think about collaboration and who's going to take that job. And then there's one great quote that I really like on collaboration, and that's this one from Woodrow Wilson again. So don't use all the brains you have, but all the brains you can borrow. Sorry, I misquoted him before, and that to me is a critical thing. So whose brains are you going to borrow? Yeah. Who else are you going to use to help you grow your business and take it to where you want to go? All right. So again, have a think about it. Whose brains are you going to need to borrow, and type that answer into the question box. Yep. Yeah, you're right. So it is a big relief when you have someone who can fill in for you. Exactly right. Yep. So marketing's going to cover for you. Who else? Web design. Yep. Industry. So yep. So you can borrow from other industry members with expertise. Great work, Tony. How about my coach? Like that answer. Yep. So you can borrow my brains anytime you like. Won't take you long to exhaust the full supply of those, but anyway, worth the effort. Thanks for that. So there's lots of brains you can borrow, lots of expertise you can draw on in order to help you. Yeah, lady, I've never been called modest before, but thanks very much. Yeah, you can borrow your bookkeeper. Yeah, I draw on bookkeeper all the time, and then there you go. Google's your friend, so you can always draw on the internet. There are plenty of brains out there. They're happy to help you. Lots of information out there to help you get where you go. So collaboration is really, really important, and I guess it's one of those things I think that gives you that real synergy in your business once you get it flowing right. All right, cruising along quite nicely as far as time goes, so that's all right. So in terms of movement, for me, this creating movement in your business and moving ahead is about the next best step. Okay, so what's the next best step you can be taking? It's harder to say than it sounds, but what's the next best step you can be taking in order to move yourself forward? And what I'm talking about is making progress, not perfection. Okay, so as I've said before in tonight's webinar, we spend too much time focusing on getting perfection. I think it's about progress is really important. And often when we fail to get movement, it's because of I guess of one of the three setbacks. And I noticed the slides are just taking a while to catch up, so I'll just take a moment to just grab a drink. But I guess it's really important that when movement slows down, that we think about the three setbacks. You know, there are three primary setbacks that we often stumble across. Sorry, just bear with me just a sec. And those setbacks are disappointment. So we're often disappointed in something or someone or ourselves or whatever, and they stop us moving forward. There's discouragement, so we're often discouraged by someone or something, and that's can be quite demotivational, set us back. And there can be distraction. We get distraction by all right. Okay, so I'm getting some messages. There's some thunderstorms around and passing over the place, so we may lose some people, and hopefully we don't lose power at this end. All right. Anyway, so thanks for letting me know that. So three setbacks. So there's distraction for you. Okay, so we're distracted by other things. So there's a feeling that these things are getting in the way often, and those three setbacks can really knock things around for lots of people. So often I find when people are slow to implement or failing to implement things, it's because they're either disappointed in something or someone, they're discouraged in some way, or there's some distraction. There's some other shiny thing that's just distracting their attention. So we've got to think about those things. So if you're not achieving what you want to do, have a think about that and have for a second and just go, okay, what's a major setback for me? So again, into the question area, just let me know. If you think about a particular area where you didn't move on last year, was it because of disappointment, discouragement, or distraction? I could have done a poll on this one, couldn't I? Distraction. Yeah. Mostly distraction. Yeah. Getting lots of distractions. Hey, Lisa. IT rubbish, that's just a distraction. Yeah, difficult understanding concepts. Yeah, distraction. So, easy to get distracted, if I could talk. Yeah, bit of disappointment. Yeah, disappointment in the weather. Yeah, that happens. Too many things to focus on. Yeah, disappointed with staff. Yeah, disappointed with self. Disappointed with the level of profitability that we've made. Yeah, all good. So as you can see, those setbacks are alive and well, and I find the easiest one, is distraction. I guess and things like losing a crop to weather if you're in horticulture and all that sort of stuff, it just becomes discouraging, doesn't it? So you get discouraged by it, and knocks you around. And you get disappointed, and you get distracted and looking at other things. But if you're having trouble working out what you're going to do with things and where you're going, then make sure you just think about those things and say, okay, I'm disappointed, discouraged, distracted. What am I going to do about it? Second thing we need to do if we're going to get some movement, I find is resource up. So make sure we've got the appropriate resources to get the job done. Too often I see businesses where we're trying to save some money by not putting appropriate resources on at the time. Now sometimes you don't have the money, I get that, but plenty of other times we have the money but we choose not to, and what we end up with is a delay, and those delays often cost us money. So be wary of the time factor in some of this planning stuff. You know, and it's easy to do that. So one of the ways to get good movement is to make sure we're appropriately resourced. Okay, so that can be just getting the help that you need when you need it. Third point then is think about the steps. Okay, so this is a really critical piece in getting sort of I guess that momentum, and that's about making sure that we break it down into the next best step. You know, so what's the next step we need to take in order to get this? So often we look at, you know, it's like climbing Mount Everest. You know, you've got to take it one step at a time. And if we think about the journey, it's a massive journey, but if you break it down into how many steps it would be, then it's probably a little bit easier. It's probably a bad example because I don't think climbing Mount Everest is very easy at all, but you know, think of a smaller hill. So, you know, think about the steps, break it down into chunks, you know, bite-sized chunks if you like, but make sure you're thinking through the steps that we require in order to get where you want to go. All right, so we go back to our model. We've then talked through, you know, destination, responsibility, collaboration, and movement. And the key question for movement are, what are 3 areas of your business that aren't moving fast enough? Okay, so just take the time to think about that. 3 areas of your business that you'd really like to move fast enough. And it could be in a particular department, it could be in a particular, you know, particular staff member, it could be in doing something. Now just pick the one you think's most important, type that into the question area for me. Production capacity, yep. One finger typing, yeah, I'm with you. IT, yeah. New business, sales conversion, yeah. Employing a new staff member, yeah. Developing a website, no excuse for that, Sally. Yeah. Good staff, yeah. Marketing, very tiring. Recruiting staff, you know, I find staff is a constant challenge in most businesses, and getting good quality people is getting harder and harder. I think the statistics are it's going to get harder and harder to find better quality people as more and more baby boomers move out of the workforce. And really important that we focus on hanging on to the good quality people we've got, probably growing and developing them to grow with our business, but also looking around to secure good quality people. And I think we'll have to work harder at hanging on to people than we ever had. All right. 3 areas of business aren't moving fast enough. Personal productivity, yep, that's a good one. And bureaucrats that are getting in the way, you know, that's a way of life, isn't it? They're always getting in the way. Upskilling staff, yep. It's critical that we do that though, because you know, they're the people we trust to actually run our business for us and do a lot of the things, and we just have to keep building them up. As we get more and more mechanised and more people around, we're going to need to skill up our staff. There's no doubt about it. Sorry, less people around, we're going to need to do more and more in terms of skilling up our people. Okay, so using our model, we sort of drive those things around. So we talked about the 4 quadrants, and if we think about those four quadrants, then what you start to get when we start to combine those quadrants is we get focused on our destination, and then we start to take responsibility of things. We start to collaborate better with others. We start to get some movement towards our destination. We start to get on. So, as I mentioned earlier on, when we have destination and responsibility, we get conviction. And I just want you to imagine your business and think about if we doubled our level of conviction, what will we get? You know, if you doubled the level of focus in, you know, for your business, so you know, that model is really quite simple. You know, it's about giving people the destination of where we're heading, some clarity about all that, and what you expect from them, and then setting some responsibility and making them responsible. And maybe it's for you to do that to yourself, set some destination responsibility to get that conviction. So it's about focus and conviction If you doubled your level of conviction, what would you get? Tell me. Type into the question box. I don't know if you've ever used the question box this much before. Anyway, type it in. Double the level of conviction. What are you going to get in your business? If you can have your people far more focused and can, a lot more conviction, get a lot more progress. Yep. Get tired. Yeah. Way better results. Yeah. Much better outcomes. Yeah. More profit. Good one. More fun. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. More dollars. Better return for effort. Yeah. More reward for the effort you put in. All those things. And I think fun's a big part of that return for effort. I mean, I don't mean fun as in, that I mean enjoying what you do. So it's a sense of achievement and things from doing that, and everybody gets that sense of achievement. I guess that's something that's important for lots of people. So that's conviction. So really important that we focus on getting conviction in our business. We think about then the model and we say, right, okay, if we then go to we've got our conviction, we want people to take responsibility, we want them to work with others. And that's about synergy. Yeah. And synergy is really important. So synergy is about how well we work together. Yeah. And it's about efficiency. It's about effectiveness. It's about a whole heap of different things. So, sorry. So really important that we get that synergy, and that synergy comes from when people have a responsibility for things and they collaborate with others to work as a team to get that done. So again, the question there, where does a lack of synergy cost you most this year? If you can identify it, where's it cost you? The fact that people aren't pulling together, aren't working, focused on the one thing, because synergy doesn't work without a destination. So you lose some people. Yep. Yeah, having to pick up jobs to complete for them. That's right. So people not finishing off things that they need to. Yeah, information not being shared properly. That's right. Yeah. Things take way too long. Yeah. Distraction, wasted resources, delays in implementation of projects, all those things. Yeah. Lack of agreement about priorities, loss of momentum. Exactly. Yeah. Didn't have as much fun. Exactly. Less productivity. End up with frustration for you and industry level, and and failure to express your goals to your staff. Yeah. And that's part of that responsibility thing. John, is you've got to make them responsible. Got some clarity around that. Yeah. Yeah. And you end up with confusion, lack of direction, failure to share the load, those sorts of things. Okay, so synergy is really important, and I think it's something we often overlook in business. We want everybody to act together as a team, but without a common goal and without clear responsibilities, then it's hard to get collaboration. Okay, so I think that's really something to think about. We then go back to our model. When we've got collaboration and movement, we start to gain momentum. Yeah. And I guess the key question here is, if we're going to get momentum, and why is momentum important? For me, momentum is basically something that stays on track and maintains its movement. I'm sure there's a physics definition that I can't remember about momentum, but it's that question of what do you get when your business moves all by itself? Yeah. So what do you really get when you've got that momentum in your business and it just takes on a life of its own? I've seen it in clients' businesses. It's quite amazing when it happens, when you get that collaboration and focus on activity. You really do start to see businesses think. So you get self-starters, yeah, and that's really important, yeah. Thanks, John, for the little physics lesson. Yeah, momentum equals half the mass times the velocity squared. Wasn't really what I was thinking of, but thank you. You get success, yeah. Opportunities to expand, yeah. More work and being hopeful, yeah. All good. So momentum is really important in business because I find without momentum, we're too stop-start. And if you've got enough momentum in your business, it also allows you to plow through some times when it's a little bit tougher. So it's a critical thing to think of. Doesn't happen without collaboration, and it doesn't happen without that key part of movement. And movement is about taking action. Now, it also doesn't happen, without the previous two bits we were talking about people taking responsibility and focusing on the destination, having clarity about where we're heading and where we're going. All right. So then the last part of this sort of harmonious quadrant model then is when we have movement and destination, we start to get progress. Yeah. And progress is absolutely important. It's important for in our team because it's about sorry, I'm just reading some of the stuff here. Yep. Yeah, get space to do other things, squared relationships, yeah. That's all good. So progress, really important that we might start to make progress. And I think the small steps are really important. And often it's about starting something, so we get some movement towards our destination, okay? And the big question here is then what small step would make the biggest difference today? So if you're going to start in the right direction and take some steps in the right direction, what small step would make the biggest difference today? Tell me about the step you're going to take tomorrow that's going to help you move to where you want to be. Yep. So we're going to expand with collaborators to expand our production capacity. Good. Yeah, set your time schedule for the week and stick to it. That's really important. You'll find that in the journal there that there's some great stuff for actually mapping out your time schedule over the year and then by month. And it gets you to focus on the important things that you need to focus on. And it reflects back. It arcs back to that to the wheel of life that is in the journal. It gets you to focus on the things you need to do each month or each quarter, whatever they're going to help you achieve your goals in each of those key areas, those 8 key areas in your life. So setting your time schedule is really important. Yeah, good planning, really important. But John, you've also got to make that movement. You've got to make that next step. So the first step is you've got to come up with a plan. Yeah. So we're going to recruit a good new employee. Excellent. Yeah. Manage your email traffic better. So just get rid of those distractions. Yeah. Going to map out a plan, set timeframes, and get going. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Contact a recruiting company to help you get somebody. Excellent. Listen to this webinar again. Thanks, lady. Good. And there's a whole bunch of other ones there that might help you as well. Have a planning discussion. Yep. Good. Might have one of those on Monday. New staff. Yeah. Contact and arrange appointments with key stakeholders. Yeah. So hit the ground running. Excellent. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So lots of good stuff there. And, I think it's important that we don't sort of underestimate that it's a wheel for a reason, because this stuff goes around. If you're going to have your best year ever, I guess you need to think about, all right, let's set a clear destination. Let's be really clear on who's taking responsibility and who's going to be responsible for a whole range of different things. Make sure you collaborate with others, because it's really hard to do it all by yourself. So destination, responsibility, collaboration, and then movement. Take action, so take massive action, get things going, get things started. You're better off to take a couple of steps in the general direction where you want to head than to not take any steps at all for fear of taking direction in the wrong, exactly the wrong direction. So if you want to head due north, then start taking directions in some sort of northerly direction, and knowing that very rarely in life do we go in a straight line anywhere, that you're going to tack slightly anyhow. So I'm a bit of a sailor, so you're going to tack in life as well. So it's never a straight run, but let's start at least sailing in that right direction. All right, so you're going to have your best year ever. A couple of things that we probably need to think about. First thing here is about finishing your year, and this is this concept of finish your year before you start it, and it's really about setting yourself up before you start. So for me, that's about that Covey quote of all things are created twice. Plan out your year, map it out clearly, use the journal to map out your year in a lot of detail. If you're in business, set yourself up with an annual operating plan. So, most of my clients, we've been through the process now of doing annual plans. We're now going to break them down to quarterly plans. So map out your annual plan for what you want to do, understand what you want to be by that, what you'd like to achieve at the end of the year, and start to break it down. So make sure you start to finish that year. Get some powerful clarity about where you want to go. All right? So it's really important that you get that sort of emotional connection from that clarity. So spend some time mapping out in some detail about what you want to achieve and where you want to go. Be really clear on that. My experience is the clearer you are on where you want to go, the easier for it is for you to get there. So write yourself some really detailed notes. You don't necessarily have to share all your notes with somebody else, but write down your dreams and your aspirations and those sort of things in the journal, in your own journal, whatever, and get powerful clarity for where you want to go. Third step is then to create your preferred future. I guess that just picks up on the point I just said. So create that preferred future of where you want to be. And for me, life is not a linear extension. So it's not a linear extension of where you were last year. It's about where do you want to be. And it's a really important thing. Often when I talk to people, they don't really have some aspiration about where they want to go. They just sort of go, oh, well, we'll do it next year. And the biggest danger you can do is do your budgets and your planning by adding 10% to last year's income and 5% to last year's costs. Think about what you want to achieve and what you'd like to achieve, because the good thing about your business is you're in control, so therefore you can do a lot of things that help you get to where you want to go. And if you don't understand where you want to go, then you're really also in a bit of trouble. Okay. So I guess that's the important stuff you need to focus on. Use the journal to drive that and to make that happen for you. All right. So the next steps from here are, I guess the problem we've talked about is most of us don't plan our year particularly well. Take the time now to use the journal and plan that out. For me, the steps are, set the game plan for 2016. Okay, so map out the plan for what you want to achieve. Make sure you've got a clear vision, so you've got absolute clarity around that, and you understand where you want to go. Make sure you're taking action. So build the action steps into it. And just sort of map all the plan out and I guess get your action steps right. Do all those sorts of things. Take the courage to act on it. So have the courage to act. And sometimes that courage means that you need to get some support and somebody to hold you accountable and do that sort of stuff. But sometimes business is about being brave at times. I'm not talking about being reckless. I'm just talking about stepping out and doing what you need to do. So set the game plan, clear vision, action steps, and take the courage to act and get going. And you're well on your way. I guess if we can be of any help to you, got lots of free resources. So we've got some diagnostics and worth having a look at those. There's 2 diagnostics. One's a business diagnostic. So answer 25 questions. It will come back to you with the 3 or 4 areas in your business that you need to focus on. based on your answers to those questions. We've got another one, change success. So if you're wanting to change your business and make some change in your life, you can go and use our change success diagnostic, because it will help you to highlight the the 3 or 4 areas that you need to focus on in that. And there's a whole change model, and we've done a whole webinar, and there's some videos on the change success model on our website if you like. Got a lot of blog articles and videos full of resources on how to do some of this stuff and how to work through it. And then there's some resources. Also happy to for you to book a free 20-minute consultation with me. You can do that via our website. So just go on there. There's a thing that says, would you like to grow your business? Just click on that, and that'll take you through to an area where you can book some time with me. Absolutely obligation free. Happy to have a chat with you about your business and where you want to take it and what are some of the steps that you might want to make. So thanks again for joining us here today. Really look forward to catching up with you again in the future. We are running some webinars and just mapping out a bit of a program for how we're going to drive it forward this year. But the plan will be to keep up the quality. Really happy to take any feedback from you on areas where you'd like us to do some more, and work out how we can help you. So yeah, please don't be afraid to give me any feedback on it. I'm quite happy to take your feedback. Now, if you've got any questions about the program we've talked about tonight or anything else, then please let me know. Happy to answer those now. But apart from that, take the time to go back, have a look through that journal, start to make some notes, and start to put some detailed plans together for 2016. All right, yeah, we will put a recording up. So we'll put a recording up on the website, Rebecca. So we'll send out an email in the next few days by the time we edit it and put it all up there. But Ray and Chris will get that up for us reasonably swiftly, and we'll flick you out an email in the next few days letting you know where you can get the recording, and you can watch it again. Thanks for the feedback, Sue. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, John. Trevor, what do you put in this journal? You asking about my personal journal or about the downloaded journal? The downloaded journal has spaces to do all your planning and map all that stuff out. It's got some stuff to do annual plans and monthly plans in it, and quarterly plans. So it's got some templates for you to do all that sort of stuff, Trevor. Yeah, if you ask about my journal, what I put in my journal, I put in there business ideas and concepts. I put my plans in there. I put in any problems and challenges that I'm having, all that sort of stuff. That's it. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Sue. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rebecca. Am I using the NBN system yet? I would love to, Lodi, but it's still steam powered up here in Bargara. I did have a chat to my local member lately because it was supposed to arrive out here last year. They're now talking about could be 2018. So I'm not holding my breath, but I've got to find a better system than this. All right. Thanks, Tony. Yeah. Thanks, James. Carol, thank you. My journal. Yeah. So my journal, Trevor, I just put all my ideas and concepts and thoughts and things that are very first stuff. All right. Terry Ann, glad you could be part of the webinar. We do them regularly, and it's a convenient way for everybody to get to them. Thanks, Janelle. Thanks, Trevor. Yeah. Thanks, John. Appreciate your feedback, mate. Thank you. Thanks, Graham. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Kim. Lisa. Yeah. All right. Sorry, missed out on the audio, lady. I'll see if it came through on the recording. Go on, you, Jeff. Good to hear from you again. Yeah, sit down with that team of yours and get them planning on how you want to map out the year. That'd be really good. Yeah. Okay, we might do something on financial expenditure decisions. Yeah, I might contact you and get a bit more detail on that. We did one recently, recent webinar by Pete Lucas on managing cash in your business, so you might want to watch that as well. So, John, thanks, Simon. Good to hear from you. All right, and infrastructure purposes. Okay, purchases. Sorry. All right. One man band webinar. I'll see what I can do. I've been thinking about doing some stuff for lone wolves, John, so that might work. All right, lady, thank you, mate. All right, excellent. All right, now if anybody's got any questions, really happy to answer any questions you may have. But if not, I'll shut it down and you can all go and have dinner with your family. So thank you very much for joining us.